But when good citizens complain to Post, when good citizens complain to Post about bad cops like this, the Post merely forwards their complaints to the town manager, which is a ridiculous policy. It ignores the fact that, in a small town, the town manager knows exactly what the cops are doing. And it ignores the fact that, in a small town, the cops may be doing exactly what the town manager tells them to do, which is what happened here. Chairman Duarte, you are a public member. I ask you to change this bad public policy to hold all Post-certified officers accountable, no matter where they work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Paul Staudt. I'm the former constable for Quartzsite, Arizona, a 10-year resident. I now have a website up called aview.info that is dedicated to documentation of court records, videos, audio, letters, and emails about the corruption within Quartzsite, Arizona, without comment, without editorial. I have come before AZPOST 2 years ago in June to file complaints against Chief Jeff Gilbert. Again, like you heard before, it was turned over to Alex Taft, town manager, to investigate. She, by no means, is a trained investigator. I retired out of law enforcement because of injuries. I served honorably, continued my training and education. The blood runs deep within me. And once a cop, always a cop. The injustices there are terrible. The sad part is, the old AZPOST turned a deaf ear to us, turned my information over to the city, to where my witnesses were arrested, harassed, and given problems. And AZPOST never asked for a copy of the investigation. Now, what I've heard today, my faith in you, and a great part has been refreshed. However, I have to live with the memories of a fellow partner and cousin who died in the line of duty. And every time I turn around, I have to face the fact that a cesspool called the Quartzsite Police Department is allowed to continue without proper investigation. And what I mean by that is a fair one by impartial people that have no ties to either the complainant, the victim, or the accused. Now, you have a powerful tool here if you move forward. Right now, what's happening there caused me to move out of the area for the safety of my wife. Now, they know they can't screw with me. I've got too strong a background in law enforcement and connections. But their pattern of harassment of family and friends still goes on today. And it is documented. Now, if you want to see what kind of caliber that these officers are, you can go to my website. And on there, there's an interview with Dennis Hagerman, who stole a vehicle at the direction of Sergeant Fabio Gonzalez and Officer Patterson, with the full knowledge of the Chief of Police, who he admitted talking to under an interview that the Chief knew about him stealing it. But as he said, that was off the record. Now, if you had somebody say that they stole a vehicle, would you stand by, make it off the record? I sure as hell wouldn't. I would conduct an investigation. However, the person who had legal title to it was arrested again. And there's a video of Sergeant Garcia, without warrant, arresting this person who called for a civil standby so he could cover his truck. Now, the documentation is there. I tried to put it down as best I can, cross-referencing, and I'm still adding every day. I'm spending 10 hours a day trying to keep this information available. Use it. If you have a problem, contact me. If you want documentation or other information, contact me through the email at the bottom. I'll get you my phone number, and I will be at your service 24/7. But my sacrifices are in the toilet when I see people like this defaming all the officers who gave their life serving the public. I damn near lost my life. I still try to deal with the loss of my partner and friend and my family member. This goes beyond what's right or wrong. You're wearing that uniform and badge with pride and honor. And these officers are throwing mud on that badge. Please do what's right. Don't tell me it can't be done. You need legislation, you need someone to speak up. You're already doing good work from what I've seen today. But if there's not a sufficient grounds to do a proper investigation, it's your obligation to make sure that the right agency steps in and does an impartial investigation. The people at Quartzsite, they don't want a whitewash. They want an honest, individual investigation where they're being heard. And it is documented, even in my cases, where I've seen the Quartzsite Police Department refuse to take a report. If there's no police report, the crime never was committed. The Sheriff's Department refusing to take complaints against the QPD officers. I've seen this with my own eyes. Where you have all this situation, basically,
I don't mean to
nobody's doing it.
But may I ask you to conclude your remarks within a minute?
Okay.
Okay.
Basically, the attorney for La Paz County is refusing to prosecute or take reports. The mayor and Pat Workman, councilman, sat for a whole day in his office and he refused to take a criminal complaint, much less talk. The sheriff is blocking complaints by the citizens. They all need to be investigated. Please, please make an effort. Make sure that whoever's doing it is doing it properly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other members of the public? Sir, please proceed.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Ed Foster, former mayor of Quartzsite, mayor in waiting or whatever, mayor-elect, unable to take his seat because of the corruption in Quartzsite and refusing to recognize the people's election. But what I'm here for today is really to bring discredit to you, not credit. Because your organization is the one that is most responsible. I personally have sat in the lobby of the governor's office asking for help. I've sat in the lobby of the attorney general's office asking for help. We all have given reports to the DPS. The DPS investigation of Mr. Gilbert has went, I don't know where it went. It went into a black hole. Supposedly, it's still in progress because there's never been a report given. It's went round and round for over a year now. That investigation has been ongoing. What's really the failure here is that Arizona law enforcement, the La Paz County law enforcement, the Arizona State law enforcement has failed the citizens of Quartzsite. Right now, we have an FBI investigation through the Public Corruption Division going on. We have several lawsuits going on in federal court. There's a federal hearing going on right now about the condition where the town management and the chief are not allowing me to assume my duties as mayor. But it's unconscionable to have to go to the federal government and not take care of these things right here in Arizona. It needs to be done by ourselves. If we can't enforce ourselves and clean up our own messes, we are at a failure. And that's where we're at right now. Thank you, John.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other individuals that wish to come forward and speak to the board? Good afternoon.
Good
Please
afternoon.
introduce yourself.
My name is Stacy. I'm a patient advocate whose life the past year has become educating and assisting patients with Arizona's new medical marijuana laws and safe access. My first concern is the past year has shown many inconsistencies when patients are stopped with their medicine and their legal cards. Some have been harassed, some have been taken to the station and then released after, they're legal. Some are told their cards do not protect them. And it is seen for whatever reason the Phoenix PD and the Highway Patrol have been very good at carding patients, taking the medicine, returning the medicine, and sending folks on their way. But there's still a lot of patients that are getting harassed on a regular basis. There's just inconsistencies, I think, out there in the departments, and it's important to bring that to your all's attention. I'm also hoping that there's someone that can share with me on what our officers are taught when carding patients for their medical cards and stuff, so we can better help our patients be safe when traveling with their medication. And, we need to all work together to make this program work and keep things safe for our patients and officers. So I'm hoping someone can direct me to someone, to help educate our patients on having safe access in the public when they're transporting their medicine or whatever they're doing. A second concern, a big concern is our medical marijuana clinics and the club raids recently. I do understand that as a community, we are all in the growing pains of a new medical marijuana program, and we are talking about something that is criminalized and legal for patients. But when we are doing these raids on businesses, yes, some are, they're violating the law. My concern is for patients, and officers are going into businesses, medical clinics, there's patients. Seriously, contrary on popular belief, patients are suffering that have, we have really seriously ill patients in the clinics. A lot of these clinics hire disabled veterans to work their front desk. And when our officers are raiding these places with, full armor and guns out and lasers in the faces and stuff, we have to think about what that's doing with the patients. This isn't a typical drug. I hope that it can be taken, we can go to another direction. Typical drug war raid. These are medical clinics with medical patients that need some compassion, when even at the facility there's might be breaking a law that the officers need to go investigate or take care of. There's a patient that was involved, he was working the front desk of a raid back in April, a disabled vet. He was an amputee, and he was made to get on the floor, and he couldn't get back up, and was threatened. And things happen. Things happen. My fear is that it's just a matter of time before one of these raids happen. Maybe a patient with PTSD doesn't act right out of fear, or an officer. I just want some precautions taken, so maybe some reconsideration on training our officers out there to maybe evaluate how we do these raids, because I don't want a tragedy to happen. Thank God we haven't had one thus far, but we are dealing with patients when we're raiding these places. And that's all that I want to address. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any other members of the public that wish to address the board at this time? Thank you for your commentary. With that,